You're tuned in to the Message Talk Show. The Message Talk Show broadcasting all the way from London, England. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Just post in the comments box where you're tuning in from around the world. We'll acknowledge you. We'll pick you up. Yeah, we'll pick you up. So just tell us where you're tuning in from around the world. So the Message Talk Show, what we do on the Message Talk Show, we look for passionate, we look for mission-centered, we look for individuals who are passionate about what they do and help them get their message out there. What that helps them to do is to find the power in their voice, in their message, based upon the principles by which they're pushing their business, by which they're pushing their entrepreneurship, by which they're pushing their ministry, whatever it is, however they're doing it, we help them to get their voice out there. So today we have a very special guest in-house today, someone who is working in what we call a woman, let me say that again. She is a woman empowerment expert, a life coach. She ministers with her business and she helps women find their true, authentic self. She helps women find their true, authentic self. She helps women to overcome the challenges that they face in their relationships, wherever they are, wherever they're stuck. She helps them. She is the woman to speak to. She's the person to speak to. So let me introduce you to a lady by the name of Kim Bacchus. Let me bring her into the studio and say, welcome to the Message Talk Show, Kim.
Hello there. Thank you so much for having me. I've been so looking forward to this show. Yay!
You've been excited about coming on the show, Kim. That's good. That's wonderful. See, when you get excited, I get excited as well. You know?
Yay.
So that's great to have you on today.
Thank you.
And how are you feeling today? How are you today?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling pumped up. I'm ready to rock and roll now. Yeah, I'm feeling good.
You're ready to rock and roll. Yeah. That's good. Kim, what's your movement, Kim?
Well, I'm hoping it would become a movement, really. It's about empowering women. It's about making women understand who they really are, their true, authentic self. It's not putting up with, it's understanding where, first of all, it's education, first of all. It's about educating yourself about matters of life, on social issues, about what affects women, understanding yourself as a true person as well, and what you will put up with and what you won't put up with. And most women put up with crap because they don't know who they are, they don't love themselves, they don't value themselves. It's about knowing your true worth. So and I just think that there's such a need for that. And if all women, if we can all come together and just we'll be so powerful and a force to be reckoned with. And it's just an amazing thing. I mean, I'm living proof of that. I'm just living proof of that, definitely.
Okay, wow. So just before Kim goes into the story and gives us a bit of background, let me just jump into our host, our sponsor, with a word from our sponsor. This show is sponsored by... You are listening to the Message Talk Show and podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and podcast with host Alex Gordon. Kim Bacchus Solutions. That's what your company is called. That's what you do. What's the story behind you, Kim? What got you talking about Kim Bacchus Solutions or creating Kim Bacchus Solutions?
Okay. Well, I start from the beginning. Okay, as you well put it, I am a women's empowerment life coach and a facilitator, and I'm a trainer and an author as well. Can I do a plug? Can I do a quick plug? I'm going to be cheeky.
Yes,
that's my book.
You can do a plug.
You guys can see it. Stop Hurting Me, Time to Get Out. Okay, that's on Amazon. Okay, and and I train women to become confident, to understand who they are, to move forward into their destiny. Like I always say with any of my interviews, I'm not a psychiatrist and I'm not a social worker, nor am I a lawyer. And I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. Okay, I'm just a one woman with a mission and a story to tell and to help other people. And for many years, I had a huge secret. And it was the man that I loved more than anyone else on this planet, basically. He held a knife at my throat and he threatened to kill me more times than I can ever remember. For every verbal abuse, for every physical abuse, for my abuser would always say that he didn't mean it, and that I brought this anger out in him and made him do it. And why did he do it? Wait for it. These famous words, he said, because he loved me. And this is such a trap disguised as love, because I truly believed he loved me. I truly believed that he meant, he didn't mean to hurt me. He didn't mean to batter me. But he did it because either I aggravated him or this man truly loved me. And it's so funny there's a misconception that these kind of stories can be disguised as love for many people. And I think what happened for me was that when I got out of the relationship, well, as I said, you can go to get my book and find the rest of my story, but when I left that relationship, I was in a really dark place. I'd lost myself. I didn't know who I was. I had no identity. I certainly didn't look like how I do today, and I was a mess. And I had a son. I had a small little boy at the time, and it was for me. Did I want him? My son was my motivation, and every time I looked at him, I would look as he'd be looking back at me, and I was just thinking, what is he seeing? Did I want him to see this? And I embarked on a real sort of like personal development journey that took many years. And it was something that I found quite interesting, because I found myself changing. I found myself liking me. There was a point I couldn't even look in the mirror, because I was always told how ugly and disgusting I was, and I believed it. But this self-development journey changed my life. It started to change how I perceived and looked at myself. I became more confident. I achieved things. I started to do things in my life that was just like totally amazing. Like, I mean, I've got my own company now. I'm an author of 4 books. Okay, this is just one I've just shown you there. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a licensed trainer. I'm a facilitator. I'm also an ordained minister. My faith really helped me a lot. And I've spent most of my top working career working for corporate companies in the UK. So I've come a long way. So Kim Bacchus Solution was formed really to say that if I can do it, I would love to show other women how I did it. And I'm living testimony of it. This is not just textbook I'm giving you. This is true life experience. And so my first golden nugget to anyone that's listening to right now is that don't judge a book by its cover. Okay, domestic abuse can happen to anyone. Okay, anybody. Okay, whether you're whatever race, religion, levels, whatever.
Let's go back a bit. Let's go back a bit to when you were going through what you were going through. You mentioned that the gentleman held a knife to your neck. When you were going through what you were going through, wasn't there anyone out there that could help? Where help?
No, like most abusive victims, you're very isolated. They're very good at perpetrators. They have such a tactic. They can come across quite charming. Everybody loves them. Behind closed doors, it's a different matter. You almost, well, for me, he isolated slowly but surely. I was being isolated from family and friends, so it's just he and I in the house. So he was able to manipulate me, abuse me, physically assault me, and hurt me in many ways, more than once. So it was perfect opportunity for him. I had nobody I could turn to. Another reason why I don't think I would have wanted to turn to anyone, I felt incredibly ashamed. I felt so embarrassed. I felt like, how could I go out there and say that this is what he's doing? Because you've got to remember as well, everyone liked him as well. and nobody would have ever, I think there would have been doubt even if I'd said he was abusing me, because he was such a charming person. Everyone thought he was amazing. And I just thought, what they don't know won't harm them. And another reason why I think I was scared, because, the threats of, if you tell anybody, I'm going to go and hurt them too. And that was not an option for me. So I just kept quiet. I didn't say anything. I just put up with it.
Wow. So the stats say that every 30 seconds, there's an abusive offence, domestic abuse offence, reported to the police. At any point in your time, did you report what was happening to the police?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did report it to the police, and they said it was a domestic issue. And was I in pain? Was I hurting? Or was I physically abused? I said, yes, I was. And they said they took a report, but nothing wasn't done. Nothing wasn't done at the time.
So
but
you weren't signposted?
No, wasn't signposted, didn't know what to do. To tell you the truth, to be honest with you, I did not know there was such a thing called domestic violence. I did not know I was in an abusive relationship. This became so normal to me that I had no idea. And do you know how I knew and how I found out? This is what I'm saying. Education is so key, because in 10 minutes, a light bulb came on for me. Okay. And it was at home. I put the TV on, and Oprah Winfrey was on TV doing a show on domestic violence. And wow. I was looking at these women talking about their stories. I remember thinking, oh, poor women. Do you know what I mean? And all this stuff. And then when I started to hear their stories, and suddenly it dawned on me that their stories were very similar to mine. And I was glued to this screen now, and I'm just thinking, no, this can't be. Why is she talking my story? And then at the end of it, this lady who's actually was in an abusive relationship for many years, but she got out, said, listen, folks, it's not love. This is called domestic abuse. And she said, if you feel that any of these ladies have said anything that's very similar to your lifestyle and your story, you could be possibly a domestic violent victim. But that's the first time I think I sat there with my mouth open, and I realized like I had a label on me that said victim. And I think that was the turning point for me. I think that's when I realized that I was in something that was not called love. That whole love illusion just disappeared when I watched that show, because of that 10 minutes of hearing what abuse was, what the signs are, what it can do to you. All of these things just made that light bulb come on to me. That simple information came on for me, and sort of changed the outlook about how I was going to carry on. And that's when I started to plan my life, what I'm going to do.
So before I ask you that key question, you may be joining us from wherever you are today. This is the Message Talk Show with host Alex Gordon and empowerment expert Kim Bacchus. Today we're talking about, is it love or is it abuse? And Kim Bacchus is sharing her story with us, sharing why she set up Kim Bacchus Solutions, and why and the catalyst for how she's now conducted her life and transformed her life from where she was with all the pain, being a victim, now to being a victor, traveling, speaking, ministering across the world, helping women find their true self. So let me just see a few comments coming up before I ask you the question, Kim.
Yes.
Yep, Zona Bell says, knowing your true worth. I like that, Kim. She said, absolutely. Policies and procedures. Okay, let me put that on the stage. Policies and procedures need to change through the government. So what points do we want change as the people of the UK? That's key. That's key. And then we have, Dee said, well done for getting out and finding your true self. That's amazing. Finding your true self. So let me ask you, Kim, what is abuse?
Well, abuse encompasses different areas of well, let me break it down. I was going to go through all of the different things, but the government guidelines for domestic abuse is defined as an incident, okay, or a pattern of controlling or coercive behavior. It's about degrading someone. It's about being violent and showing violent behavior. And it can include sexual violence, usually by a partner or an ex-partner. But what it really boils down to is about power and control. That's the bottom line. It's about power and control.
It's about power and control. So what are the signs?
Well, the signs of an abusive relationship. Well, first of all, there's different segments of there's different orders of domestic abuse. There's one called emotional abuse and physical abuse, psychological abuse. It could be mean like well, physical it's actually like what the name calls it. It's like it's yelling, threatening, humiliating, shaming you, amongst other tactics as well. Physical abuse is slapping, punching, pulling your hair, kicking. There's financial abuse. These are the things that people don't know. People just associate domestic abuse with just getting a good old beating, but there's so much more that's involved in it as well. There's financial abuse. This is a type of abuse that when your partner actions like cutting off any financial money for you, like cutting off your bank account, access to bank account, no access to your bank account, controlling where you can work and controlling your income coming in as well. You've got sexual abuse as well. This is formed as it's a sexual assault, or in other words, it's like rape. And what people don't understand is that they say, well, Kim, I'm married to him and he's forced me to have sex. Am I supposed to not do it? And I just think, well, no, if you say no, listen, let me just make it clear. Okay. No is no. Okay. I don't care how intimate you get to a point, right? When you say no, it means no. Anything outside that no is what we would define as, and the government and the law would define it as rape, because it's not with your consent. Okay. So just know that. Okay. There's verbal abuse, which is just as bad as physical abuse, because I mean that can wear you down. I mean, it wore me down, being constantly told horrible things about yourselves and being put down, being name called. It's just a really nasty a way to erode at your self-confidence and your self-esteem. Then there's something called spiritual abuse, which people go, what? And, this is a type of abuse, includes attacking another person's belief system, okay? Denying access to probably a house of worship, or maybe being forced to participate in some sort of cult as well. So those are sort of like just a few of what abuse is, okay? So and it's really fun, because when I do my training and I get lots of emails and people say, well, I would never have guessed that, I would have never known that. And so people are living with this for years and not known they're actually living in an abusive relationship.
So the journey that got you thinking, moving, acting, developing yourself to free yourself, what was that journey that you went on from there to you said you did a lot of personal development to build your confidence? What was the journey?
The journey, well, first of all, I remember my journey started in the library, because that was my place of escape, was the library. I remember that like it was yesterday. I used to go and sit in the library, and I used to sit within a section called the personal development section. It's only by fate I happened to be sat there, and I would read books just to kill time, because I knew what time he would leave the house, so I can go back when he wasn't around. And then I then joined another, you talk about movement, a personal development movement with Wayne Malcolm, who is a profound trainer in personal development and a phenomenal coach. They call him the business coach as well. And I joined his courses probably, I started training with him probably over 10 years ago. And his training, and that man actually changed my life, my whole perception about who I was. I actually remember I was working at the time, and I thought this job I was in would be the best job for the rest of my life. This is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I don't know if any of you have ever felt that. And when I did that course on the Saturday, I remember crying. I remember walking away. I remember making a list of saying, well, I'm going to be writing. I'm going to write books, hence more 4 books I've written. And I remember leaving, going back into work on the Monday morning. I was sitting at my desk thinking, I don't want to be here anymore. This is not who I am. There's so much more to me. And that's when I realized that how we are blinded by our true talent and our worth and our destiny that's within us. And until somebody actually draws it out of you, you never know how much you can contribute in this world, how much you can change people's lives, how much you can save people's lives as well. So, for me, that was the beginning of my journey with that particular person, definitely.
But you said that we're blinded from our true self by the routines that we conduct every day. Why do you think that we get blinded so much in a routine in a job, and we can't see that we're bigger than what we're doing? Why do you think that is?
Well, first of all, like what I just said as well, because it was through of education that drew that out of me. And seeking to do self-help yourself to become a better person as well. Another reason why is that you could be just settling. You just settle. You just think, well, this is it. It's paying my wages. It's paying my mortgage. It's doing everything. It's just perfect. It is what it is. It's so funny you should say it, because only yesterday I was speaking to somebody that said that he hates his job. And when I asked him, why don't you do something about it? And why don't, we did a bit of a coaching as well. And it's like, what is your passion? What do you really want to do? And another thing is fear. It's fear of moving on because of the uncertainty. Yeah. And not know whether you're going to be making money. Is it going to work? But people don't say you can actually do something part-time. You could do this in the evenings. You could do this during the weekends. You can do it as a trial run just to see how you go. And it's something but that's how I started that. I mean, I didn't leave the corporate world just like that. I actually started to produce my business on the side. And then when it took off, then I decided, well, yeah, I'm ready to go now. I'm ready to start and leave this rat race behind. And that's how I did it.
So you made a decision then. You made a decision in so many areas of your life, all Absolutely. At the same time.
It's about choices. It's about decisions that you make in your life. Absolutely. Yeah.
And at the time when you made those decisions, could that decision have come earlier in your life? Or would you say it came at the right time? What would you say?
Yeah, no, it came at the right time. I don't, it was horrible what happened to me. It was, in fact, it was traumatic. It was horrid. My life over a number of years took a turn that I wouldn't have been here. I mean, there was points I even contemplating suicide. It was that low for me. But I tell you something, and I think it's about it's about being positive within as well as outside as well. For me, I do believe it's what's made me who I am today. Wow. I think I'm a stronger woman for it. I think I'm much more wiser, and what's happened. My training and my whole change of my life happened when it should have happened. And wow. What would have been really sad is if that I've taken all that bad experience and did nothing with it.
Yeah,
just sat on it and just plodded on with my everyday life, being a victim and just being sad and poor me. That's what would have been terrible. But I didn't do it. I turned it around. And why I'm so passionate about this is because if I can do this, anyone can do this. And my life was hell with a capital H, hell. Okay.
Hey, just before Kim tells us about how she helps women now, let's go to some of the comments. But before we go to the comments, if you're joining us for the first time, this is the Message Talk Show. We help passionate people, and Kim is passionate. We help passionate people get their message across, use their voice, their mission-centered principles to get their message out to the world, to make an impact to the world. And let's face it, if you're not opening your mouth and talking to the rest of the world, if you're not doing what you're meant to do, if you're not finding your true self, as what Kim says, finding that true self-worth, not settling for where you are, thinking you can do more than what you can do, You're more than what you are right now. If you don't get to that point, then wow, you're not living the way you should live. And Kim is telling us that. So before Kim tells us about how she helps women now, let's go to some of the comments. All right, this is a big one. Victims in position of domestic abuse violence do not realize it's not acceptable to live with abuse within a relationship. The abusive lifestyle becomes a norm for someone, which is not society, relational, healthy within a relationship. It's awful. A person feels worthless and confused in an abusive relationship. Wow, that's a deep one there. And then we have Carol Townsend, brilliant. But what if you do not hate your job, but love it? What if you do not hate your job, but you love where you are? You love the function, or you love the environment? Which is it?
Do you know what I always say to people when they say that? I say, it's when you get to that point, it's time to start upskilling yourself.
Right.
Start upskilling yourself. There's no one saying you have to leave your environment, but look to see what other jobs in the environment that you could be trained to do, that you can upskill yourself and actually stay where you are. But it's about, don't wait for people to promote you, promote yourself.
Yes, that's true. It's about progression, isn't it? You should be progressing from year to year. You should have goals that you're achieving and pushing yourself.
Goals, exactly.
And not settling.
That's right.
Because you can't confuse settling with loving your job, can you?
No.
Or you shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Okay, Kim, that's amazing. Okay, Kim. So now tell us, Kim, how do you help women now with all the solutions that you've packaged and you bring out? How do you help women now?
Well, I am a qualified coach. I'm an NLP master's practitioner and coaching and facilitator and training person. So what I took all my skill sets, okay, and I wrote training programs in regards to how to help women, because it's okay talking about it, but how do you actually do it? So what I did is, like I said, I'm not a textbook person. I take from my own experience and I put it in a format that I can teach. And so therefore, well, the first hurdle I remember I had to go through was actually building my confidence and self-esteem. So I do confidence and self-esteem courses and showing women how to attain that and how to keep it and how powerful that can actually make a woman as well. And obviously you mentioned about goal setting. That's so key for me, because goal setting for me is where it's got me to where I mean, I didn't jump from domestic abuse to where I am right now. It has been a progressive journey, and that has been done by setting small goals, little steps that I've taken along the way. That's taken me to where I am today. And I've got a goal for another 5 years, and I've got goals for another 10 years. It continues. I can't stress how important goal setting is for your life, because it's what took me forward instead of keeping me stagnant in where I would have probably ended up being if I didn't do this. So goal setting as well. I talk about, there's another program I do called Me, Myself and I. It's about really learning to look at yourself in the mirror, because one of the things that I could not do was look in the mirror. And I'm even getting emotional about it, because I remember even just thinking, just even looking in the mirror was just like terrible for me. It was like everything he said about me. I looked in the mirror and I saw like bubbles coming up, and all the time, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And it took me it was hard work and a lot of determination to get to that point, to say me, myself and I. But this was about me and myself in that mirror, and for me to actually start to love myself, and not in a vain way, but love yourself in a sense of respecting yourself, about knowing your self-worth, about understanding who you are. Because when you're in an abusive relationship, you become a different person. You've become molded into something that person wanted you to be. You've lost your identity. I had to find all of that again. So I do this Me, Myself and I training course to help women find themselves. And but like, as you can hear from my voice, anything that I'm doing, it's coming from inside of me. It is my roots. It is who I am today, and that's what I bring out in my training. So like I said, I'm not a textbook person. You know, I didn't go, you know, I studied for what I had to do right now, but this is just something that's coming from my heart. It's a heartbeat for me.
Well, it has to be a heartbeat from where you're coming from, the journey that you've taken, the self-development journey, and now to bring these solutions to women. Now, I'm imagining that every time you deliver a course, every time you go out there and you're speaking to women, that you're almost living again what happened. Am I right?
Well, I don't structure my training that way. I don't believe in regression. I don't believe in going back and rehashing what's happened. That's not my aim.
Right.
My aim is about moving forward. Okay, it's about rebuilding you. It's like, you know, it's helping you get to a place of understanding from there to there now. That's my goal. Yeah.
So it's like it's the bricks. You find the bricks and you start building with the bricks.
That's right.
Brick
step by
brick.
step. That's right.
And step by step.
Absolutely.
And finding that. Okay. Mm-hmm. And how often do you run these courses? I run these courses once a month. I run these courses. So they're I'm just actually doing one of the pages on my website right now, because obviously with COVID-19, my courses used to be face-to-face, but now everything has to go on Zoom now, webinar. But I mean, that's cool. I love it. And but the courses are on a regular basis, and I normally put out a lot of stuff I do on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I mean, I can see my stuff, or my information going across the screen, and you can go to my website and you can find out all the courses that I've got going on as well. And when's the next course? I think you've got something coming up shortly.
I've got a domestic. That's not love, it's domestic abuse training this evening. I do it every Thursday at 7 p.m. and this is a free training. And it's like I set myself a challenge here. I said, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until that information gets out there. I don't know how long I'm going to keep doing it, but I'm going to keep doing it. I don't even care if I've got one person, two people, three people. I don't care. But I mean, I don't actually have quite a lot of people come on. But if it ever got to that point, I don't care. I'm still going to keep doing it because I think it's so key to be educated, to understand what domestic abuse is and what are the signs. What do you do? What you know, if these things are light bulb moments. And, you know, I know when I do my training, the beauty of it, I mean, the emails, the comments, the chat in the chat box, is people coming back and saying, first of all, I never knew that was abuse. And, you know, that is the light bulb moment. And yes, I'm going to run now. I'm not staying there because I know now that that's wrong. That's not love. That's abuse. So that to me is that's just the icing on the cake for me when I do that at 7 o'clock. I love it. I love doing that. I love it.
Wow. Let me ask this final question. You inferred this earlier, and I didn't really jump on it. How much of your faith was able to help you to get through this? How much of your solution, your breakthrough, how much of that was come from your faith?
100%. 100%. When I was being abused, it was the most loneliest journey of my life. And when you don't have anyone around you, just knowing that you've got this supernatural strength from something that you believe in, and I believe in Jesus. I have a real great relationship with Jesus Christ, and I truly believe it's my faith. And the times when I felt that when I was stuck in my room after having such a great beating, or being released from the hospital after having my nose broken, but several times my nose has been broken, my eye socket has been fractured. Having my word to read to give me comfort in times of need, because there was no human being could have made me feel comforted like my faith did. And and I've spoken to so many women and men of faith that not necessarily Christians. They could have been Jewish, they could have been Muslim, different faith organizations that have said that their faith has really carried them through. So and I truly believe that whatever you believe in, hold on to it, because that is the anchor that takes you through the storm. And that's what took me through the storm. Only to God. Yeah.
Wow. You've got a fan here. Zone and Bell has said again, Kim Bacchus, personal experience speaks louder than theoretical points, facts. Personal experience carries a great weight of power and empowerment to set people free. And
Amazing.
We've seen that with yourself. Your personal experience put together and packaged now with the education, with the step-by-step approach to help people navigate their way through and signpost themselves for a better life, to find their true, authentic self.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you the final question, and I've been saying this for a while now.
Are you sure? Are you sure this is the final one?
Let me ask you the final question. Now, what would be your ideal? What's your ideal circumstance from everything you're doing? What do you see want to happen across, say, Great Britain, across your community? What would you like to see happen?
In regards to domestic abuse?
Yeah, in regards to what you're doing. I mean, you're bringing this solution to the world. You're bringing this to your community. What would you like to see happen?
Well, for me personally, for my goals, I would like to see more institutions set up for Black, Asian, and ethnic minority groups. I would like to see more training and more help available to that minority of groups of people. I want to see this subject being spoken about more widely and actually taken more seriously. I mean, granted, COVID-19 was terrible, but what the blessing it brought was that it highlighted domestic abuse. And albeit, I must stress that COVID-19 did not cause domestic abuse. It's been happening for hundreds of years. But what it did, it just highlighted it even more, which was a blessing in disguise, because it really needed that light to be shone on it. I think for me, Kim Bacchus' solution is about being a light in a dark place and shining a light on this subject, so that people could be ultimately just to be set free. I've experienced freedom, and I can't tell you what that's like. And until you know where I'm coming from and why I think just know what you're doing, be educated on domestic abuse, understand it, and it's simple. It's not rocket science. Okay, my training takes about 45 minutes. When I'm done, people are like, wow, because it's not rocket science. It takes it's just simple points that could put that light bulb comes on and then saves your life. You're free. Be free. Hey. Be free, people. That's what it's about. Just be free. You know what? We talk about people putting us in bondage. We're our worst enemies. We can keep ourselves in bondage. That's why I can't stress enough. Knowledge is key, guys. Knowledge is key.
Well done, Kim. You've gone through amazing hurdles. You've escaped from the cave that captured you and kept isolated. You are flying in love, and for others to set them free to become themselves. Awesome, amazing. Yes, that's amazing.
Thank
Kim.
you so much.
That's
thank
amazing.
You.
That was from Zoe Bell. Yeah, the comments are amazing. The comments are amazing. So I want you guys to please support Kim. Here's her email address, her Facebook page, her Twitter, and her Instagram. And if you go along and just support what Kim is doing and become ambassadors for change. And so
I got
Kim. Okay, Kim. Let's hear about the book.
Confidence building does for you people.
Let's hear about the book again. Tell us about the book. Where it can be found.
All my books could be found on Amazon under Kim Bacchus, under my name. Okay, there it is. I don't know if you can see it. Am I getting the screen properly? There you go.
Yep. That's fine.
That's it. And I've also got my training this evening at 7 p.m. So please, you can find the link on Facebook I think it's just Facebook and LinkedIn. I think I've got all the links. But if not, email me. Email it me. Kim-Bacchus@.com. info@kim-bacchus.com.
There it is. It's on the screen. Yeah. It's on the screen below you, Kim.
There you go.
It's on the screen below.
There you go. Email me, guys. Email me. I love receiving emails.
Yes, you're getting some comments here. Go, Kim, plug your book. Wow, go, Kim, plug your book. Promote your book. Amazing. Kim, I want to thank you for tuning in today. I want to thank you for connecting with us and sharing your story. It is so important for us to share our stories across the world. That's what brings change to people. And especially when you're passionate about what you do. And today we've seen the passion from you, but not
It's
just
about
passion.
change.
It's about change.
Yep.
You've got your processes involved, you've got your products involved, you've got your books, you've got your courses. You are changing people's lives, changing women's lives, one person at a time. And if you join the program tonight, you'll be a whole group that'll be changed. So tune into Kim's program tonight. Go find, let me put her email address again and her details so you can find it. And Kim, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening to me.
Okay, so let's hear the final word from our sponsor today.
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon.
Right. Thank you folks for listening to us today. Thank you for connecting with us. This is the Message Podcast, the Message Talk Show, broadcasting every Thursday, 11 o'clock. And if you want to get your message out there, just connect with me. We're on Facebook at the Message Talk Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for connecting. Thank you for spending time with us. And I will see you again next week.
The Message Talk Show is back.